Hello, everybody. This is the Old Bear and the Old Bear's Den of Bigfoot. We have a video for you today. Today, we have a story that comes out of West Virginia, my home state, not too far from me. It's about a man that cuts up deer meat, and during the hunting seasons here in West Virginia, a few hunters take meat to him. He only does certain people's meat, cutting their deer up and getting the heads ready for mount and stuff like that. Anyway, he called a buddy of mine. He had a deer out there. He's known this man for probably 10, 12 years. But when this happened about 10 years ago, so he's known him for over 20 years now. And as such, he called him about 7 o'clock, and I was at my buddy's, and I said, "Yeah, sure, I'll go with you." Anyway, we got ready to go, and about 8:30 we left. He's only about a half an hour, 45 minutes from him, so we figured get there a little after 9, give him a little extra time to get home, because the man said he was taking his wife out to dinner. She helps him package the meat and mark the meat and stuff like that, what it is, and whose it is. And they put a bunch of stuff in this walk-in freezer that he'd built there at his house. Well, they left, went to dinner, came back. When he got back, he said his door was ripped off his walk-in freezer. And the walk-in freezer, there was only 2 bags left of deer meat. One of them was one of my buddy's bags, and then there was another one of somebody else's deer. They shot a small young buck. One of his boys had shot one or something. I don't remember what it was, but it was just one bag. But out of those were only 2 bags left out of 12 bags that he had in the freezer. And the rest of it was either strewn across the ground, uh, ripped out of the paper that he'd wrapped it up in, or the papers that held the meat that wasn't quite yet frozen was laying on the ground and they'd ate him. So he called the state police. They come out along with the DNR. Excuse me, guys. The DNR come out and they started an investigation, taking pictures and trying to figure out if they could find fingerprints and so on and so forth. They figured it was a person that went in there and got the deer meat out. And the game warden just kind of stepped back, and he was standing off kind of to the side by himself. When we showed up, they wanted to know why we were there, and the guy vouched for us and told him, he's here to pick up his meat. And I don't know, I gotta look and see if I can find his deer meat in there. And anyway, we were standing there talking to the DNR officer while my buddy went in there with the meat processor, and I was talking to the DNR officer. I was standing there and I happened to look down and I said, "Huh, I wonder what those prints are from." The DNR officer kind of looked at me real funny and he said, "Oh, don't worry about that. It doesn't mean anything. It has nothing to do with this." And I kind of looked at him like he was nuts because I know better. And so anyway, what happened was they got all their photos and took all the information and whose deer was taken, and the DNR took all that information too. And while they were going through that process, I looked at the landowner, and I told him, I said, "There wasn't no bear. There wasn't a bear done that. Ripped that door off her like that and and threw them bags all over the place. Wasn't no bear at all done that." He said, "Well, what is it?" I said, "Well, look right here at these prints." And I showed him the prints that I'd seen that the DNR was standing beside, because he'd walked off, and they, 18 to 22-inch long prints sitting there. And he looked at him, saw him, and he was like, "What in the world could do that? What in the world walks around barefoot?" So it wasn't a man. He kind of looked at me strangely. He said, "Well, what is it?" I said, "It's Sasquatch, Bigfoot, Yeti, you know, the Yahoo here in West Virginia." He kind of looked at me funny and didn't believe me. And DNR come over and said, "Well, what are you showing him them prints for?" "To show him the truth. There wasn't no bear that done that. You know it. And you're going to say it's a marauding bear. And it wasn't. You're going to blame it on a bear. And it wasn't. I know what it is. You know what it is. You just don't want to admit to it." Anyway, they left. We left with one bag of meat, and Buddy was kind of disappointed. And, a week or so went by, and the guy called and wanted to talk to me, and called my buddy and wanted to talk to me. So we went back out there. I sat down with him in his kitchen for about 2 hours and explained to him what actually done it, and showed him the tracks that went over the hill. And we walked in there a little ways and found some of the bags and wrapping on the deer meat that I guess they stood over the hill and eat some of it. Anyway, this kind of pissed him off pretty good. And he was pretty upset about it. He was kind of angry about it, actually. So he decided he was going to do something about it. And I said, "I don't want no part of it." I said, "You saw the way that DNR officer acted. He's going to do everything he can to keep this quiet. The state knows about it. The federal government knows about it. And they're going to keep it quiet. They're going to say it's a bear." Well, anyway, about a week and a half went by again, and he called and said he was going to go down in there and look for him. That they'd come back to his house and was banging around on his house and around on his freezer and making all kinds of racket outside of his house and screaming and hollering. I guess they decided that he was going to feed him or else. Anyway, he ran him off with a couple of shotgun blasts, and I guess that scared him off. Well, that kind of made him mad because it scared his wife, which I understand. And next day, he went down in next afternoon. He went down in there looking for him, and I guess he found one. He shot this thing 3 ways from heck. Y'all get the gist of that one. And killed it. He cut it up. Body parts, he just destroyed the body parts. He cut it all up. He just left it laying there in the woods. Went back to the house, called me and told me what he did, and I said, "Look, I don't want no part of that." I said, "DNR is going to do nothing but give you heck over this anyways. And because you know what it is, they're going to give you trouble, and that's as simple as it's going to be." Well, lo and behold, the DNR shows up next day at his house wanting to know if they can go down in there and try to find that bear. And the guy said, "Sure, go right ahead. Good luck finding a bear." And I guess they come back that next night and went back down in there, and he said he heard a bunch of gunfire down in there. And so them guys come out of there carrying tarps. 2 guys carry a tarp. And said there was blood dripping out of the tarps, and said there was 8 guys that went in, and there was 4 tarps when they brought them back out. Now they figured that this guy figured there must have been at least 4 of them in there, because there was 4 different sets of prints up at his house when they ripped the door off. So he figures they probably killed 2 more and cut them up between those 4 tarps and carried them out. And these didn't look to be DNR. They looked to be some type of other unit, maybe a government, something to do with the military or something of that nature. He said they weren't dressed like DNR dresses or anything. or a SWAT team didn't dress like them. They went in there in fatigues and they had M16s and they had military uniforms. Seemed like these military uniforms, no insignia, nothing on their uniforms. Uh, anyway, that was I guess a Saturday night they went in there and done that. They come back on Sunday evening, went back in there and they had a bunch of shooting going on down in there again. And they brought another something else out in 2 tarps and told him that his marauding bear was taken care of. Anyway, they said they'd have to come back and find the other, to get rid of the last bear that was in there. And he said, "Good luck finding it." He never said nothing else. But for the next 3 or 4 days, or about 2 weeks, actually, is what he said. He said he got stopped in the next 2 weeks 8 times in the next 2 weeks. Once by a DNR, he said 2 or 3 times by the sheriffs, and then said the rest of it was all state troopers that stopped him. It was never the same sheriff or trooper or DNR officer that stopped him. It was different ones every time. Anyway, guys, that went on for a couple weeks. They came back in again and went down there and couldn't find nothing. Didn't have no shooting. They come out of there about 4 o'clock in the morning, and the next day he called me, and this must have been a Saturday evening because I gave him my phone number. He called me and I went out there and talked to him. He took me down in there and showed me what he did, and I talked him into taking all that stuff, us gathering all that stuff up, the head, the pieces of the arms and pieces of the legs and foots and hands and all that other stuff. Took it up at his burn thing and we poured oil all over it, poured gas on it and burned it. Kept it going for probably about 2 hours to burn this stuff up. Now this will probably get me in trouble, and if you don't hear from me guys, I'm in jail. Probably shouldn't be talking about it, but it's time to get the truth out there that the government does know what these things are. They're hiding it because they know how much money it would cost them. So, like I said, if you don't hear from me guys, well, just pray for me. And don't send me any money. Don't send me anything at all. Stay out of it. Stay anonymous, guys. And that's all I can tell you. It's safer that way. Better for y'all. And let me deal with it. I'll deal with it my own way. I've got proof of what I said. And I'm not going to post the pictures on here. If something happens to me, there are people that will post them across the internet for you. And you'll know what it is. Anyway, guys, I appreciate y'all coming and listening to the story. Thank you for that. And I hope each and every one of you have a blessed Thanksgiving. Enjoy it with your families and have a wonderful time. And we'll give you, when we get back with the next story, we'll see you then. Oh, and this channel is not for children under the age of 18. If you're under 18, get off my channel. Not my channel, but our channel. There's 3 of us that work on this channel, so please leave the channel if you're under 18. It's no offense to you, but I'm not dealing with the FTC. I'm not going to deal with YouTube. If something happens, they shut this channel off, I will find another avenue and let you guys know about it. Anyway, I hope each and every one of you enjoy it. And this is the Old Bear signing off from the first day of firearm season for deer here in the great state of West Virginia. Bye-bye.